What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be chatting about something that Millie and I were kind of chatting about in passing recently, and I thought it was super interesting, so wanted to just kind of chat about it here.
Mm.
And that is a theory about the origin of Jesus Christ. So super random, but yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of wanted to get into it. So
hmm
Millie, tell me a little bit about where you think the very beginning of the story of too deep, too deep. All right, just give me
I mean, I guess just like from, I guess, a broad overview, I would just say yeah, religious texts nowadays, they've been kind of, I don't know, blown out of proportion, I think, a little
mm,
bit. I think we have to remember the same way that we look back and are reading the Odyssey and are reading stories about Hercules and stuff like that, in the same way we should be looking at the religious text that is also from thousands of years ago. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? So I think in the same way, I think there is a little bit of like fable and like storytelling that goes into like the Bible as well as other holy books. And yeah, Jesus Christ being a very integral part of like the Christian faith, obviously. But you got to wonder, how much of the religion is actually based on the things he was doing and saying, and how much of it is a bunch of fluff from other people who weren't around at that time. So yeah, so anyway, I just as a former someone who like grew up in the church, I just think, yeah, there's a lot of questions around who that individual was, and based on the things that he was saying, I would say most of the religion's core has been corrupted. Yeah.
okay, okay, yes. So that's kind of the where your thought behind it
hmm
came from, I guess.
hmm
So that's really interesting. So you grew up in the church and essentially thought your way through those feelings after
mm,
almost getting indoctrinated in your youth. So that's kind of, I don't know, like
yeah.
where that stems from, just thinking about the actual origin of what the teachings of Jesus Christ were supposed to be.
Right. Well, I guess like again, it's all about like rationality, like being an objective person, right? Like, yeah, as I was getting older and starting to look at things with a more rational perspective, then you start to wonder, okay, well, if the God of the Bible or of any holy book in modern times, if they are an all good God, like an all loving and all caring God, then our world literally could not and would not look the way it is, right?
Facts.
Or the other option is that they are not an all-powerful God. So they created the universe or created the world, and now they are unable to impact their creation. You know what I'm saying? So they're not all powerful, but they
Mm-hmm.
are like a creator, so to speak. So I guess it's just like trying to get even like a basic person to like admit that, come to that admission about their like supreme being. It's like a, I don't know, an unheard of argument for them.
Okay.
Like there's always a justification. Oh, everything happens for a reason. Oh, it's God's plan. It's just like, okay, what is God's plan behind cancer killing my dog? Or God's
Mm,
plan behind cancer killing my uncle? Or God's plan behind my, you know what I'm saying? It's just
mm-hmm.
like it just doesn't make sense. Like that is not a justification. And then when you ask people again for when you're asking like very like what you would consider regular people, like people
Mm-hmm.
going to work just like you and I, like people who are very sane otherwise in their normal life. People who, when they look up at the sky, can agree that it's blue and can agree that there are clouds and trees. But then when you ask them about, their belief system, then it's just like, oh, yeah, all powerful being that understands everything and never does any wrong, despite all of the terrible things happening in the world. This
Yeah.
being definitely exists and definitely loves us. And if you don't believe in that being, you're going to go to hell for eternity. It just sounds crazy when you really like spell it out,
It
right? It
does.
sounds like a made up story. Like it sounds crazy.
Yes, because like you were saying with literally the Odyssey or like Greek mythology, Greek gods, they were thinking similar things like,
Yeah.
oh, don't offend the gods or they're gonna come down and basically like smite you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing that we see now with
Hmm.
the Christian God or
Yeah.
do you think it kind of melds into other religions as well?
Yeah, I think definitely. I
Yeah.
think anytime you're basing a belief system on like multiple 1,000-year old beliefs, like you're putting yourself in danger of corruption through changes, word of mouth
Mm-hmm.
changes. Again, most of those peasants that were in these stories that are in these Bibles and the other holy books, they couldn't read or write. Like these stories were written down later by other people who were recounting stories that they were told. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
So
So
think about like world's most complicated game of telephone.
yeah, I mean, we know that fables change and things over time,
Yeah.
and then again, we also know certain books were omitted from the Bible. Certain books have been taken out of the Bible, right?
Mm,
There are a lot of questions that you can ask around the authenticity of what is in that thing. And once again, if the religion is based around Jesus's word and the things that he was doing and he was living his life by, why do you need anything else in the book? The belief system should just be based off the guy who it's named after, right?
yeah.
Surely you just need the red text, which is the things that Jesus was doing and saying, which is, loving thy neighbor, welcoming thy neighbor,
Yeah.
feeding the
Washing the feet of the
hungry,
poor.
right? Taking care
Hmm.
of the poor, washing the feet of the poor. So again, like, and we see a lot of modern Christians in the churches themselves literally not embodying the words of Jesus Christ. So it's
Facts.
again, it's just pretty ironic. There's a lot of fluff in those books, but
Hmm.
again, and if the religion is named after the individual, only the red words should hold the most value, in my
100%.
opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Because it shouldn't be based on someone else's context or someone else's
Yeah,
like perception of the story. It's
exactly.
like that, I feel like, is what all of it has become instead of people actually reading the story and
Yeah.
making up their own mind about what to take from the story.
Yeah.
It's like,
And let me just say really quick, like if you need religious texts or ancient texts from thousands of years ago to help you be a good person in today's day and age, you just are quite simply not a good person. Like that's what it comes down to. Like it really shouldn't be that difficult. To the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. If you can't follow that golden rule, you just simply aren't a good person, right? Like when it comes down to anything, right? If you think that racist thought, or you think that about a woman, or you think that about a minority, or you hit an animal, like that is all that, those are your thoughts. You know
mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like a religious text isn't going to help you fix what's going on in your brain.
No.
And it isn't a justification of you being a good person. Just because you are reading something doesn't make you a good person. So I think
Right.
there's like two very clear discrepancies that need to be made. You know, being a religious person doesn't automatically make you a good person. And also, if you need religious text to try and justify you being a good person, you're probably just not a good person.
Yeah, 100%. No, actually. Because exactly, it shouldn't be, oh, well, I don't know how to be a decent human being in today's society. I'm going to read this book and it's going to tell me what to do. When, I mean, the message, sure, but I just
Again,
feel like
like
you don't, like you said, you don't need a text to be able
you
to,
shouldn't. Yeah,
yeah.
you shouldn't. I mean, again, not much from that book is applicable, or any of those books is applicable to our lives now.
Mm-mm.
Again, it's been thousands of years. Let's be for real. Now, imagine going to a doctor and saying, hey, I would like this procedure from 3,000 years ago. The doctor would probably slap you in the face and say, are you insane? We obviously don't do that anymore. We've upgraded our technology and practices since then. Go to an architect. Say, hey, I want to build this building like they built 1,000 years ago. they're probably going to say, hey man, that's going to cost you $1 billion
Literally.
and a ton of labor that we are not specialized to do anymore. Like,
Yes,
that is the
literally.
reality of our planet. We have continued to develop, we've continued to adapt, we've continued to grow and update our systems and processes. And that's what we do. And so, likewise, our belief system should also have upgraded and transitioned along with our species.
Facts.
Like, if we were, again, like we've talked about in previous episodes, if we had transitioned and upgraded to worshiping more of the natural things around us, we probably
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be destroying our planet and degrading our environment at the rate that we are.
Facts.
But again, because we're still worshiping these invisible idols that ancient peasants were worshiping, we've not progressed in terms of like our belief system. Think about it, like humans, our point is to figure out like our purpose, right? Why we're here, how we're here. Can we go other places? Are there other beings out there? Like, those are the
Mm-hmm.
questions that could be thrown up that humans could be trying to address, by progressing our species so that we could answer those questions.
Facts.
But instead, we're still stuck 3,000 years ago in beliefs from ancient people,
I
right? And
know.
it's like people laugh when you talk about like Zeus or something, right? But guess what? Zeus was literally the belief system right before Christianity took over, right? Like that was what those were there were all sorts of religions happening in the Roman
Mm-hmm.
Empire at that time. So, they had the Roman gods, which were essentially the Greek gods just renamed. To say that we shouldn't have progressed our beliefs, even though ancient people also in some ways progressed their beliefs or changed their beliefs,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of time that change was through force, right? Like, they killed people for
Mm-hmm.
not changing their beliefs. And then we could get into the whole thing with paganism, and how basically every Christian holiday is just a pagan holiday that's been renamed, rebranded, and resent out.
Redistributed. Yeah, back to
Exactly.
the people.
So there's a lot of those sorts of things. Jesus Christ being based on like the sun god, which is one of the oldest religions
Mm.
in human history, which is worshiping the sun. It's just all of those things. You can pull it apart piece by piece and be like, guys, it's relax. This is not that serious. You are not
Facts.
supposed to be trying to base laws on this ancient holy book. You're not supposed to be trying to control other people's bodies with these ancient holy books. That is literally not the point of them. That
Facts.
is weaponizing beliefs of ancient peasants. And again, we've progressed past that. Surely we can all acknowledge that we have progressed past that in the last 3,000 years.
Yeah, I would think so. And so thinking about the fact that, other religions and
Mm-hmm.
belief systems have been changed in the past and
Mm-hmm.
eradicated basically,
Yeah.
how would you, or not how would you, so it's just like not even unreasonable to think that that is going to happen with Christianity and all modern religions at this time, at some point in the future,
I mean,
and be replaced with something else.
hopefully,
Yeah.
I think, at the end of the day, I love like the Family Guy, the way that they did that when it was when Stewie and Brian were messing around with the time machine, and essentially they transported to a world where religion hadn't been invented and Earth was
Mm,
so far like progressed. They had flying ships and the buildings and healthcare,
wow.
and all of those
Probably
sorts of
no
things.
war and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
And yeah, I think, what it comes down to is look at what those organizations are doing in society, right?
Hmm.
The churches are a tax-free organization. There should be no hungry children, no homeless people. Like, there should be access money that the church is using to deal with those things. Again,
Definitely.
if they are following the word of the name of their religion.
True.
Christianity should be based on Jesus Christ's word, which is feeding the poor, feeding helping the sick, feeding the, all of
Yes.
those things. That is what the religion is allegedly based around. So I wonder how people can't visualize how corrupt it is when you have pastors with mega churches with $1 million homes and cars and those sorts of things. And those people, a lot of Christians, are attending those things and not seeing that they are literally anti Jesus Christ in
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Literally. So would you say that's part of the weaponized religion aspect, or kind of its own
Yeah, I
separate part
mean,
of the
you
issue with the...
yeah, well, I think it is part of part of the issue is that it is weaponized, right? It's corrupted. That's not what it's meant to be about. I mean,
Right.
like the Bible literally talks about how you are better off worshiping in a closet by yourself so that you can have
Mm-hmm.
a direct connection with God, right? And the Bible also talks about how like there shouldn't be false idols and stuff. So even imagine imagine if Jesus comes back down to earth. He's going to see statues everywhere of himself getting executed.
That is
It's going to be pretty
crazy.
traumatizing for the brother.
No,
he's
actually,
going to come he's
wow.
going to come down and see pictures and drawings
And
and
it's,
statues, and it's all of him getting
but
executed.
it doesn't even look like him. Some rando getting executed.
Right. Yeah. A person that he's never seen. Well, yeah.
No.
I guess he'll understand the
I
symbolism,
know,
but,
I know, I know.
but yeah, on that same point, I guess like my emphasis is just how corrupted it is. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't based on the word of who that person was, or on the teachings of that person or the things they were doing. The religion, yeah, it's just been fully corrupted and taken and weaponized. I mean, again, look, the Vatican has billions of dollars at its disposal. Again, another $1 billion entity that could
Yeah.
be working towards solving hunger, solving homelessness, working towards curing diseases,
Mm-hmm.
releasing all the history they have in their vault. But
I
again,
know.
there's no interest in doing that. So again, you have to ask, well, what is the purpose of the religion? Right? It
Yeah,
doesn't
genuinely.
what
What is the
right?
purpose of the religion?
I personally feel like it is acting as a blocker from it is acting as a blocker, which is preventing the human species from asking the more important questions of
Mm.
where did we come from? Why are we here? What is our purpose in the universe? What is our place in this universe?
Because they
Right?
rely so heavily on like the teachings of the Bible to tell them the answers to
Yes.
those questions.
Yes, because everything is sky daddy, everything
Yeah,
is God, every explanation, there's just an answer, right?
yeah,
And it's an answer that's intangible, unresearchable, unphysical, and it's just a belief, right? So it's hard for people who are empirically minded, tangibly minded, to argue against people who are just using beliefs as justification,
mm-hmm.
right? You can believe in anything.
Yeah.
I can believe that the sky isn't the color it is, and you can look at me dead in the face and say, no, it is that color.
They'd say you're
But
colorblind.
right, but I say, no, I believe that I feel it inside. I feel it that the sky is a different color, right? You literally can't convince me otherwise because it's something I believe in,
Mm-hmm.
like without any
An
evidence, without any
immovable opinion.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so like that's why it's so frustrating for like again rational objective people to have these conversations because you're arguing against belief system, things that aren't tangible. But then when we say, okay, well, all of the money that the churches are getting from people could be taxable revenue that is then put into the public systems that the churches are not participating in, such as feeding the homeless, giving
Mm-hmm.
SNAP benefits to children in America, right? Like that's what I'm saying. It's like why would you want to exist as a tax-free entity? Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you want to put money that you're receiving as a church back into the system to help more people?
That's a good point. That is a good point. That makes
If
me
that's
think
the
that they
goal.
don't actually care about the things that Jesus Christ was saying
Well, right,
in a
right.
lot of
In
ways.
a lot of ways, I think it's pretty clear,
Yeah.
pretty clear about that. But anyway, I guess with all of that said, I guess I now we should transition into like who like the theory about Jesus, since that was like the whole premise that kind of really just tweaked into the corruption of the churches and the Bible and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, well, Okay, well, starting way back from the beginning,
Yeah.
who do you think Jesus Christ was in
I
his
think
time?
Jesus Christ would have been someone who is advocating for the poor people, for the unrepresented group in society, obviously through like the words and actions that he was taking of trying to represent the poor, taking care of sick people, washing the
Mm,
feet of the homeless, those sorts of actions are, I think, highlighting that he was a person who was fighting for the underclass of society. So similar to a
yes.
Malcolm X, a Martin Luther, those sorts of people in society. So if you can imagine, if you like, for example, if you took like Malcolm X, for example,
Yeah.
his movement, his energy, the things he was preaching. Now, if you took him to a time where the people around him couldn't read or write, and then after he died, all that was left of him are the stories that those people around him have to tell,
Hmm.
right? That is
And
essentially exactly what. Go
yes, no, I was
ahead.
just gonna say, we know how people love to over exaggerate stories. We
Right.
know that is like a huge, just human behavior.
It
When you're
is
telling a story, you're always gonna over exaggerate things to make it sound more interesting than it was.
naturally.
Oh, exactly, naturally. So
Right.
imagine, like you said, people who can't read or write
Right.
to
And not
write
saying
down
they
and
weren't
know.
like smart people or anything. I'm just
No.
saying that again, when there's no way to notate the things that you're
Yeah, I mean, they
seeing.
didn't have stock paper and pencils to
Mm-mm.
just jot things down.
No. And so
So,
and so yeah, so my thought process is he started off locally. Obviously, anybody who thinks that a person was born asexually, I just don't know what to tell you. If that was possible, it would be happening frequently. Again, it's been 3,000 years. We would have seen examples of that happening much more frequently if that was possible. So,
yeah.
the whole Son of God, come on, guys,
Come.
let's be honest about what was really probably happening back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it. People are embarrassed to admit that they were having sex or they don't want to admit to their
Or let's
whatever.
just be
Like,
honest, women were not protected back then,
well,
so
that's
she
also true.
probably
She
got assaulted,
probably got
right?
raped. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how the birth started. But I
Mm-hmm.
do believe because of the poor environment that Jesus was born up in, he became an advocate for the people from a young age, learning the carpentry, whatever you want to call it, those skills. I think he also would have picked up some herbal knowledge and learned about
Mm-hmm.
herbs and different things like that, which is how he became the healer later on in life, because I feel like he would have been someone, again, helping the poor people, advocating on their behalf, speaking to those sorts of people,
Yeah.
and then also having a enlightened knowledge of different herbs and different local remedies that he could use to help people, help heal the sick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And at those times, that would have been miraculous, right? People would have
Yes.
been like absurdly surprised to see someone mixing up like a potion in a pot, and then it's steaming and brewing and sparking, and then someone
Yes.
drinking it, and then they start feeling better. They would be like, oh man, you know what I'm
Genuinely,
saying? So
yes.
I feel like that is a more believable account of the sorts of things he was probably doing.
Genuinely, yeah, because imagine it's something that people would typically die from,
Yeah.
and he comes in and whips up some herbal tea for them to drink, and then within a
Right.
few hours they're on the mend and they start feeling better.
Yeah.
Any recount of that occurrence would sound like a
Like a
miracle. It would
miracle.
sound,
He came and put his hands on their forehead. Then they drank the magic potion, and then they awoke from their sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be mind blowing to people
yeah, he
back then.
checked for the fever
Right.
and then made the tea.
And again, these are like peasants. Like these
Yeah.
are all like the poorest people around. Like, of course they're not privy to these sorts of things. So you can imagine why those sorts of stories would start spreading throughout the area, spreading through the
Mm-hmm.
kingdom. A lot of people are talking. There's a lot of hearsay. The stories are getting bigger and bigger. And that's why
Yes.
it's starting to worry the government. You've got a
Mm-hmm.
guy advocating for the poor, talking about how the poor are people too, and they deserve rights and they should be taken care of, and we should love our neighbors and love the foreigners. That was that was blasphemous for the government, right? They would deem that how the Republicans call like socialism now.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, this
genuinely.
person cares about people and wants to help everybody. They're a danger to our society. Right?
What?
It's like MLK, Malcolm X, they were all ranked as some of the most dangerous people by the FBI. They were put on
Yeah,
the most wanted list, just like Jesus was put on a most wanted list by the Roman Empire.
literally.
And they literally arrested, tortured, and executed him for advocating for the poor. That sounds like a ancient advocate, in my
Yes. And
opinion.
he was like a martyr,
Exactly.
genuinely.
And that is
So,
why I think the belief system was able to spread so quickly, because they martyred him. He
mm-hmm.
died, and then the stories of him continued to grow and grow and grow until it became a belief system.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's
Right?
like
Right?
when
I
you
mean,
were
it
telling me,
makes.
I was like, uh-huh, uh-huh. What else?
Yeah,
Like, that is such a mind-blowingly, like, I could see that happening
right.
because we've seen it happen
100%.
in
And it's
our
just like, think
time.
about how, like, even the Romans, who, when the religion started spreading so much, think about the corruption. You think Jesus, after the things of his teachings and his writings in the Bible, would have been okay with crusades in Jesus' name? Crusades in which the Roman Empire, the church, was massacring hundreds, if not thousands, hundreds of thousands of people all throughout Europe and the Middle East and all those areas.
Yeah.
Do you think, if you've read the text, you know that that is not Jesus's belief?
Yeah. Where
So
where in there does it say yes, genocide?
I know, yeah.
'Cause
Go take your horses and wipe out villages of children who won't succumb to a religion that I was never alive to believe in, because it was based on me. It's just like, it's
literally,
just insane. It's
it's
just
crazy.
insane. And yeah, so I think, like, again, he was most likely someone who is an advocate for the poor, working on their behalf. And as he was gaining popularity and more people were believing in the things he was saying, in how the society and the government was taking advantage of the poor people, I think the government, they did what they do when someone is advocating on behalf of the people. And
Yes.
we've seen it in modern times, so it happening in ancient times shouldn't really be a surprise for me.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. And it's just like so crazy too how it began as like a martyr situation, right? Where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, the stories about him spread really fast. Like everyone should believe in his word and, you know,
Because think about that. Why wouldn't that spread? Oh, it's just like, if again, it's just like these ancient stories. If you watch the Odyssey, right? The Zeus's law. You
yeah.
should welcome in the neighbor and be nice to them. So
Mm-hmm.
just like this thing, Jesus's teachings. You should love the foreigner, love thy neighbor, treat your
Literally.
neighbor as if they are your own family, right? Those are the teachings of the Bible, if you're reading Jesus's part. So it's just
Yes.
like, again, where did that go? Where did that
No,
go in
that's what
the
I'm
modern belief?
genuinely, that's what I'm wondering. Like, how has it gone from everyone like spreading his stories and potentially believing and following his rule, or not rule, but like his belief system? And they had to have for a little bit of time, you know.
Yeah, maybe
But
for a
with
bit,
the
yeah.
government, it's kind of tough,
Well, it's
right?
just like
Like,
money. It's just money,
yeah.
right? Like, at those times, like, you were starting to see like a lot of the rise in like corruption, a lot of, those sorts
Hmm.
of things, a lot of false people who were trying to take advantage of those sorts of things. I mean, think about it. It was allegedly someone in Jesus's own inner circle that sold him out, right? So
Right.
we know that people were taking bribes and those sorts of things. So if you think about that, right? People would have figured out how to prey on that teaching. I mean, even 1,000 years ago, when you get to like the English Empire and like those peasants and stuff, the church was literally not teaching the peasants or the normal English people how to read so that they could maintain
Mm,
the control of the Bible and use God's teachings to keep control of the peasants, right?
got
Do you
it.
know what I'm saying? So there's
Mm-hmm.
always been, I guess it probably developed quickly as it became more of an organized institution of
Yeah, so I was
religion.
gonna say that's really the issue, right? The like creation of the center of worship and the creation of
Right.
like pastors and people who are like speaking the word of God or
Right, or like on behalf of people, right? And it's
yes.
just like no one has the right to do that. That's
No.
that is actually crazy. Like it it's literally blasphemous because think about it. Jesus, while he was alive, refused to take on any titles or anything other than just himself because he did not view what he was doing as forming a religion, right?
Right.
So again, it just speaks to how misguided these sorts of people are.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a pastor, I'm a preach, I can interpret the word of God. No, you can't,
What?
brother. No, you can't. That's just like
No.
it's just a crazy thing to claim.
Yeah, genuinely.
Almost like claiming as if you are like this ancient person. And then we can even talk about the experience Jesus had where, he had the experience with the devil or whatever in the desert.
Mm,
Um, it's been well recorded from ancient histories of different sorts of trials you could do in order to elicit a certain spiritual experience with the human body. So if you know the natives, they had certain opioids they could
yeah.
take, which would elicit that sort of experience. We know things like DMT also can elicit that sort of experience. But another way to naturally experience that is to deprive your body of food and water. And when you
Mm-hmm.
get to essentially the verge of death, you can also have sort of out of body experiences. So that is essentially what the trial in the desert is signifying with Jesus, is that he was going on a trial of no food, no water in the desert and going on a spiritual journey, which again is well documented in human history of people doing that. So again, it's not like the first and only person to ever do
Right.
that. It's like, no, humans have been doing that for thousands of years. It was a well documented practice. And the people in his area, this was how they achieved that, by going
Mm-hmm.
through the desert and using the heat to elicit that. Uh,
Hallucination, basically.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that.
Yeah.
So,
No, okay. So, and did they have boats back then?
well, I mean, someone did.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I
I
was like the
mean,
whole like parting the sea thing, right? I was like, was
oh,
that?
that came a little later. Yeah. Again, just
I was like,
nonsense.
did he get on a boat and they were like, ah, he's parted the sea?
I honestly don't know about that one. Again, like, I don't know if it was maybe like, I
I
don't know.
know that's fine. I was
I'm
trying.
not going to get in because again, it's just like, if I showed a person from 3,000 years ago my laptop and tried to show them like my work that I do for my 9 to 5, they would be like, this sorcery. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? They'd be like, what?
Show them your
They'd be
iPhone.
losing it. They'd be like, these
Yeah.
devices don't it'd be like a
They
full
wouldn't even know
spiritual
what the
knockdown.
word devices was.
Exactly. You know what I'm
They
saying?
would
So
literally think it was
so
sorcery.
I can't even try to put myself in the psyche of a person 3,000 years ago. Again,
No.
like thunder would have been freaking me the hell out back then. So I don't know. I don't know what a person like that. I can promise you, they would definitely throw away their old belief systems if they if they came to our modern time. There's no way they would be keeping their old belief systems. They came here, they'd be like, "What?"
Well,
it
he's
just doesn't make
British.
sense. Yeah, it's always a Brit. So yeah, I mean, on top of the obvious corrupting of what Jesus looks like, the race of Jesus, the skin tone of Jesus, all of those things that we see in modern times,
Yeah,
but the holy books themselves have been corrupted. Who are these people? What gives them the right to speak on any of these things? It just
facts.
doesn't make any sense. If your religion is literally named after one individual, then the beliefs should be based on what that individual says, and you can
Yep.
basically scrap the rest of it.
Genuinely, yeah, because I mean, again, it's like when you get into the interpretation from another person, you're just not you're not following the actual teachings of your religious god or
Yeah, and as soon
whoever.
as you're trying to, in modern times, try to use your belief system to justify other people not having access to rights or healthcare or things, it just speaks volumes to how corrupted it is. Because again, that's never what the intention of those sorts of texts was for. You know, they were never meant to withhold rights from other people, or
Yeah.
you trying to insert your beliefs and prevent other people from doing things in their lives. Like, again, anytime religious text is used like that, it's blasphemous. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're literally going against the own word of your of your main person. So it's just hysterical, like the irony, the ignorance, the hypocrisy. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, genuinely a lot of hypocrisy and a
Mhm.
lot of just like, I mean, the wars over religion also
Yeah.
has just been insane because like all of it is teaching essentially the same thing
Yeah.
at like a base level, right?
I mean, yeah, you could sum up every religious book to treat others the way you want to be treated.
Perfect.
That's it.
Period.
That's the sum of every book. And then if you really deep it, treat everything the way you would want to be treated. If you really deep it, everything from the plants to the animals to the sky to the air to the
Yes.
everything. So right, like if you really want to deep it, that's the sum of every religious text, and it's
Okay.
really not that hard. It
Period.
really isn't that difficult.
No,
So
it's really not.
everything else is just, I guess, like a pathway to get money out of people.
Yeah, literally the corruption of the religion. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, I would assume Jesus Christ was advocate for the people, and that advocacy gained him a good following, which then put him on the government's radar as a dangerous people who was leading uprisings of the poor against the established bankers and rich people in society. And they didn't stand for that, so they executed him. And
I think that sounds pretty accurate.
it's like the whole story.
It's like the tale as old as time,
Yeah.
right? The history repeats itself over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just one of the times that we've seen the uprising of a new belief system of people trying to get out of their oppressed, I guess, I don't know, oppressed life from the
Yeah, get
government, you
out from
know?
underneath the boot.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly. So, yeah, I definitely,
Yeah.
I could see that.
And I know Republicans gonna hate that Jesus was a socialist, but I don't know what to tell you. That's what his
Read the
word
text.
said. Yeah, I know. Just read it. If you read it, you'll see it. You'll see it. It's the red words, by the way. It's the red words in the Bible. Just because I know they haven't actually read it before,
No,
just
fair.
because all of it is so foreign to them. Because again, you would never vote for someone with the ice and with the deportation if you
No,
read Jesus's line about loving the foreigner. So again, yeah, just the hypocrisies run deep. They run super deep. We could call them
genuinely.
out all day, but anyway, yeah, that's a theory on Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
and no one can confirm or deny that because wasn't nobody there.
exactly. So,
And the people that were there couldn't read or write. So the one thing we do know is that he wasn't as light skinned as y'all try and act like he is.
facts. I know that's right.
So anyway, yeah, that was a theory on Jesus.
So, if you made it this far,
Thanks for watching.
and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.